were so many concepts in science which I just didn't understand. No matter how many times I would go through it, I just could not understand it. Do not stress and stay focused. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a good day. So in this video I'm going to be telling you guys how to get top grades in your GCSE science. This is coming from someone who got an A in basically combined science. I got an 8.7, and if you are new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Elise. I am a year 12 student. Advice that I'm going to tell you guys and give is not only coming from me myself, but it's coming from other people who have done GCSEs just like me. Without further ado, make sure you guys like, comment and subscribe, because I am going to be producing more GCSE content, especially towards like May when the exams start. So you do not want to miss out on that content that I have coming. I'm going to split this video up into several parts so it can be easier for you guys to follow along. So I'm going to start off with general advice, and then I'm going to give you advice for each subject: biology, chemistry and maths. And then I'm going to tell you guys how you can maximize your time, especially as we do not have that long left until the summer 2025 exams start, and how to memorize content as well. I'm also going to give you guys some tips for exam practice and how to make sure you do not fumble exam questions. The first thing you may ask is, how can I memorize and understand the content? The first thing I have to say is to go through the specification and pick out things which you don't understand and things that like are weak areas. It doesn't make sense to go through things that you already understand, because you're just going to waste time, especially now where time is literally of the essence. The specification is your ultimate guide. It literally tells you guys what's going to come up in your exam. It's basically what your teachers used to teach you guys at school. Using the specification, you can get it online, you can print it out, whatever works best for you. What I would do is I would make my notes from the specification. It doesn't make sense to use a textbook and make notes. I'm telling you guys, the textbook and the revision guide, it wasn't helpful. I didn't use it. I never used it once. I think the only time that you should actually be using that revision guide is if you have come a long way and you have not started your revision. Then you are doomed, and you will probably need to use that as your last source. I mean, it depends on everyone. Everyone is different, but I'm just telling you guys what I did, which enabled me to get that top grade. If you do not understand something and you are struggling with something, I think the best thing to do is to watch a video on it. There are many websites out there, Free Science Lessons and Cognito. Those two, they're literally the best. There were so many concepts in science which I just didn't understand, especially chemistry. Chemistry was a subject where I just couldn't, like, no matter how many times, like for example, balancing equations, no matter how many times I would go through it at school, I just could not understand it. So watching videos, those quick videos, will literally help you out, and I know it helps me out. I'm just gonna talk to you guys a bit about Cognito. Cognito was a website which I used from year 9 towards year 11. Even when I wasn't doing GCSE content, I literally was using it to understand and grasp the concepts of science, because I don't think I mentioned in this video, but in my past videos I have talked about my story in science and how I literally didn't understand a lot of things. Cognito was something that really saved me, because especially if you're not someone who understands a lot of things in science, it breaks down things to literally the bare minimum. They have resources out there like quizzes, exam papers, exam questions. They have their own exam questions, and then they also have exam questions that have come up obviously in like proper exams. Free Science Lessons is really good because he has the videos, the 4-minute videos, and then he does do books, which I did end up actually getting one. I got the chemistry one, and I got this one I think 6 weeks before my actual GCSE, and shockingly, I think it was because of this book that I was able to get the most, like the top grades in chemistry out of the whole of science. I ended up using this and just kept doing this, and then it also has like a practice paper on the back. Guys, this is a really, it's really good, especially if you're actually struggling now. I would recommend buying this. It's not too expensive. Oh my days, literally whacked myself in the eye. I think it's only like 8 quid. It's not too much, honestly. The best way to make sure that you've understood after watching all these videos and doing quizzes is to test yourself. And I don't only mean by like doing quizzes, but also like testing yourself by explaining it to other people. So what I would do is I would get like my notebook and I would explain everything to a family or a friend. When it came to like mornings before exams and like revising, what I would do is I would literally teach it to my friends and I would teach it to my family members. If you can teach it to a little sibling, to your cousin, your friend, or a family member, it just shows how much you understand. When it comes to making effective notes and flashcards, you guys need to be careful, okay? Can't lie to you guys, when I started making flashcards, I did not know what I was doing. What I would do, especially for geography, I know this is not a part of the whole video, but for example, geography, what I would do is I would write something and then I would literally fill the whole flashcard with notes. That is not what a flashcard is. A flashcard should literally have a question, and on the back it should be bare minimum, maybe like 3 lines or 4 lines. It should not have a whole paragraph, and that is definitely not effective, okay? So make sure if you're gonna make flashcards, please guys, limit it, because how are you gonna remember that? You might as well just use your notebook. Like, that's what I did. Like, I didn't use flashcards in science because I just couldn't do it. And maybe I feel like maybe that could have been the reason why I didn't end up getting that 9. Maybe it was that, who knows, but I didn't use it. And to be honest, it worked out well for me because of the notes that I was making from year 10 to year 11. So I was able to have that with me in the sense. So if you do not have notes already, then what I'm saying is to make sure you make flashcards. And if you can't make your own flashcards, there are many resources out there that have flashcards. You can use Quizlet, physics and maths tutor have some flashcards online. I know that some of them are good. I never used them, but I was like told about them when it came to resources. When it comes to flashcards as well, I want to like give you guys a quick example. Let's say you have a question, like this is a common question that I can remember that would always come up. Let's say you go into an exam and the question is, compare the differences and the similarities between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. If you make a flashcard on that, what you can do is you can write prokaryotic versus eukaryotic, and then on the back you can write down maybe 3 points about eukaryotic and then 3 points about prokaryotic. So what my teacher did is she basically told us like how to answer a 6-marker, and I'm going to talk more about it later on, but make sure that your flashcards are not heavy because you won't be able to understand them. Okay, so once you've understood the content, then you will now move on to doing exam questions and doing exam papers. Okay, do never ever do exam papers when you are not familiar and you're not confident with a topic. I'm someone who I never did exam papers unless I understood the content, and that's why I didn't really do exam papers. Maybe like February time, that's when I actually started to properly use exam papers and go through them, because most of the time from September to around maybe February is when like paper 2s are being taught, and it doesn't make sense to literally do exam papers when you have not finished the content. The thing that I do recommend is doing this under timed conditions, okay? You don't necessarily have to do it straight away. You can build up, but I think like for me, for example, I realized that I never ever did exam papers in timed conditions, and I think this kind of probably affected like the way I was in exams, because obviously timing is such a huge thing. But I think in science, especially combined, there is enough time, 1 hour and 15, especially for like the marks you get. I don't think I struggled that much with time, but I think if I was putting myself in exam conditions and doing practice papers, it would have benefited me and it made me feel more comfortable. And when I talk about doing exam questions, I don't mean going back through a whole past paper and doing exam questions where you already know that you're gonna get right. Like, don't go through cell biology questions that you already know the answer to. Do not do that. I remember when it was like the last few like months towards GCSEs, I would use physics and maths tutor for exam questions, and this is why I mean doing exam questions before a whole past paper is really good, especially physics and maths tutor where exam questions are on an actual topic rather than a whole paper where it could just come in like any order. I remember like I would go through each topic, like photosynthesis for example. I would do exam questions on photosynthesis over again. I would do the exam questions and then I'd go through the mark scheme and try and get that into my head. I think I'm going to do one with you guys right now. This question is on about communicable diseases, okay? It says, describe how the human body prevents pathogens from entering the body and how it defends itself against pathogens inside the body. So this question is on the topic of the human defense system, okay? So it requires your knowledge from physical and chemical barriers and also the immune system, so inside the body. You could talk about how the human defense system has 5 key areas. So you could say that the stomach contains hydrochloric acid, which kills the bacteria. You could say that your nose contains lots of hairs which sweep out mucus. You could talk about the trachea, like your mouth, the breathing system. You could talk about how also the trachea mucus is also there. You could talk about how the eye secretes enzymes which kill the bacteria as well. So that's basically requiring your knowledge. So 3 marks, you just talk about 3 points from physical and chemical barriers. And then now to talk about defends itself against pathogens inside the body, you want to talk about the immune system, how white blood cells are there, and you need to talk about how white blood cells engulf pathogens, okay? Keyword engulf, destroy, engulf and destroy, those are your keywords. And then you will talk about how they produce antitoxins which neutralize the toxins produced by the pathogen. And then you can talk about how memory cells are formed rapidly in response if you are exposed to the same pathogen again. So those are just key points that I would talk about. When it comes to a 6 marker, you do not need to write so much. My teacher mentioned you can just write bullet points. Like that's what I did in my GCSEs. I wrote bullet points because who has time to be, reading through a whole paragraph? And really and truly, do you think the examiner wants to be doing that? You're just making the examiner's life really much more harder. Answering the exam question in bullet points, it basically makes it clearer, and therefore marks will not go missed, and the examiner can actually understand what you're writing. At the end of the day, honestly, familiarizing yourself with these type of questions is just only going to help you, because these questions will repeat itself. Science stays the same, it never changes. Literally, science stays the same. It's just questions that are going to change, and the examiner will always try and trick you, and honestly they do it really good. In year 10, for example, doing physics and maths too, all those questions, the question that I just went through with you guys, yeah, that right there is going to be your main priority. Even in year 11, I would recommend doing it only for weak points. If you have an area which you're very weak at, definitely do that. That's what I was doing, especially when it came to biology for photosynthesis, because the questions that would come up were some tricky ones, I thought was tricky, and then when the exam actually came, it wasn't even that bad because I was already familiarizing myself with it. A lot of the times when we do exam questions, we get really happy, and so you should when you get the questions right. But at the same time, when you do get the questions wrong, this is where you need to pay attention. You need to make sure that you are analyzing the mark scheme, because the mark scheme will not change, it will stay the same. So make sure you're familiarizing yourself with which point and where you went wrong, so you can continue to enhance that and make sure that you don't make the same mistake. Because honestly, I think I probably made some silly mistakes in my exams, and if I got my exam paper back right now and I looked at where I went wrong, I would probably be screaming and crying right now, shedding a few tears. But with these exam questions and doing these revision sessions, it basically prepares you, so when you go into that exam, you will be all right and you will not make any mistakes. I want to talk about required practicals that you need to know. 100% practicals will come up in your exam. Every single year, practicals come up in biology, chemistry, and physics. To be honest, the way that the practicals can come up are in different ways. Not only will it just ask you to write down, or it won't be just a 6 marker asking you to write down the whole practical. It could be tick box questions asking you about variables. Getting that knowledge of your required practical is definitely something that I really recommend. And I think what you should be doing is writing down your required practicals on flashcards, okay? I think this is something that probably let me down. I think this is where I lost marks, and I'm not going to lie, I can tell. I can remember me in that exam when the exam required practical came up, and I was just sitting there staring at it I was staring at the required practical like this. I'm going to move on to chemistry and physics, and I'm going to do these together because chemistry and physics they are subjects which basically involve kind of the same things, only that physics has more maths than chemistry. One thing that I want you guys to make sure you know is that your equations, okay? I think this year and next year, maybe the next year after that, I don't remember, but I think you guys are going to get the equation sheets. But nevertheless, even though you are going to get the equation sheets, that does not mean you are guaranteed 10 out of 10. I just realized the equation sheet is actually for physics, okay? So chemistry, you do need to know your equations off by heart. Equation 23, that's a website which I do recommend for remembering and revising equations. A lot of the times examiners will give you a question and it will require you to use more than one equation, and you need to be able to understand and, you know, make your way around which equation it is. The last thing I have to say is to know your units and conversion. When it was GCSEs, I had like 2 big papers up on my whiteboard and I had all the units and conversions, okay? I still have one right now for my core maths, and I think for my biology. These unit conversions, they're gonna come, they're definitely coming, guaranteed. The unit conversions, they're coming, and the thing is, you will lose marks. You will lose marks if you do not put your answer in the right unit. And sometimes the examiner won't even be generous and they won't even put like a little sign at the bottom. Sometimes they will, sometimes it will be like S. Sometimes you have to be the one to put S, okay, if it's seconds. Make sure you read the question carefully, especially with biology. I know this video is all around the place. I am switching from biology, chemistry to physics because honestly a lot of the advice is literally goes in for all of them, okay? I remember during my exam, my geography teacher was telling me like, Elise, make sure you read the question. If you don't understand the question, make sure you read it, because guaranteed the question is going to be on something you already know. It's going to be something that you studied in the specification. So there'll be a keyword in that question that you'll just remember and you'll be like, oh, it was that topic that I went through with the teacher. Let's give an example, osmosis, right? So the examiners love to do this with especially practicals. That's why I was telling you guys to make sure you know your practicals. With the osmosis practical, the common vegetable that is used is a potato. I think a few years ago they used the carrot, and this literally threw so many students off. They were like, what on earth is this? Like, what is a carrot? The exact question was basically about osmosis, but instead they used a literal carrot instead. So this is what I'm talking about. They love to trick you guys. Examiners love to trick our students. I'm so happy I didn't fall for it, I must say. In terms of physics and chemistry, make sure you focus on your weakest and the most hardest topics. Electrolysis, for me, electrolysis, moles, all of those equations, all of those things, they were the enemy. That was literally the enemy in my papers. And I want to say, make sure you guys, if you do not understand, make sure you please put them on flashcards, use free science lessons and nail them. Because like in the examiner reports each year, they always talk about how those type of questions are the ones which students fall and do bad on. And I remember I was going through them like a few weeks before my exams. I was sitting there and I was going through examiner reports, and I think this is such a good thing. If you really want to get top grades, definitely go through the examiner report, because it tells you what questions students do bad on and how much marks students each year get. Another thing I recommend doing, especially before your exams, is watch videos that summarize all of the content. Science Shorts is a very good channel. I was using Science Shorts that before my mocks, before my GCSEs, I would literally watch the video, listen to it in my earpods. He literally summarizes all the videos, all the topics, in like GCSE science, each sciences, and then he also includes triple content as well as combined. The next thing I have to say is to get rid of any distractions, any obstacles in your way. If you want to get those top grades, you need to get rid of them. That's what I did. Like, these distractions are not really good because it makes you compare yourself to other people. I remember when I would be on TikTok and then there would be someone who's in year 11 and they're like, revise with me as a year 11 student, and they're there claiming to do 5 hours of revision, and I'm sitting there in my house like, guys, social media ain't for the weak. Sometimes it's all cap, it's a whole facade. Do not stress and stay focused. Do not stress over GCSEs. I'm telling you guys, honestly, you'll be fine. We will get through it. At the end of the day, if you stay focused and you stay calm, you'll be all right. You'll be able to push through. Please guys, do not think I'm gonna stay up and pull an all-nighter to revise and do all of this. when your exams are the day before or the weeks before. Do not do this. There's so many people who I know who were staying up till 12 a.m. doing exams practice, doing revision. I couldn't do it. 10 p.m. came and I locked off all my revision when it came to GCSEs. Sleep is what your brain needs, okay? So if you're telling me you're gonna stay up till 12 a.m. and you're gonna be all right in the exam, it's gonna affect you. Please guys, make sure that you're getting your 7-8 hours of sleep. And I know it's not easy. I would be sleeping and I'd be thinking of my exams. I'd be thinking of what I wrote in my exam like 2 weeks ago. That's how bad it was, okay? I understand how it feels, but honestly, your body needs sleep and it needs it to rest and heal. Make sure you're actually taking care of your body, like you're drinking enough water, you're eating the right amount of fruit and vegetables. All of these things are going to impact you. I just want you guys to make sure you are not, when it comes to your revision as well, do not count how many hours you are doing. I cannot stress this enough. There will be times where I'll be sitting down thinking, oh, I haven't done 3 hours of revision. And like even in a school, the teachers will be telling you guys 7 hours of revision, 5 hours of revision on the weekend or the holidays. Like, guys, do not do this. I'm telling you, as someone who got an 8.7, I don't even think I was doing like more than 5 hours of revision a day. Like, I think 4 was my maximum, okay? And it's not even about how many hours you do, it's the amount that you get done. So to summarize this video, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys really learned from everything that I was saying. I know it was all over the place, and I know like sometimes I'm a fast speaker, so I hope you guys was able to understand some of the things that I'm saying. If you have any questions, make sure you guys comment down below, and if you really enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so other people can actually get access to this video and benefit from all the advice I was saying. All of the things that I'm saying right now is not cap, it's literally straight up the real truth, what I did to get my 8.7. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up, make sure you like, comment and subscribe. I'm on the road to 200 subscribers, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.